kicking it off with the AR-15, the biggest difference you're gonna notice between this and the AK is felt recoil. Most of that comes from the cartridge itself. The AK has a bigger bullet, a bigger cartridge, and with that, there's a lot of pros and cons. Pros being you're gonna have more stopping power, more kinetic energy, but cons are you lose velocity and you lose the bullet drop at, let's say 300 yards, which these short-barreled rifles are more than capable of shooting out to. The AR-15 does have some issues, kicking it off with the gas impingement system. Not all AR-15s have this. Some have a piston system that is similar to the AK, but the gas impingement system allows a lot of the gases and debris and carbon get from the bullet back into the chamber area and all over your bolt carrier, which makes it really dirty, a really dirty system. It makes it really hard to clean. The AK-47 just stays cleaner. One of the other downsides for the AR-15 is the kinetic energy. This round is just smaller. It's a 22 size round. It has high velocity, but it just can't keep up with a 30 cal round when it comes to kinetic energy. Talking about the gas system, the AK-47 has a piston gas system, and it's really nice because you don't get a lot of dirt and debris in your chamber on your bolt. It's just a more reliable system, which is kind of what the AK-47 embodies. It is known for being a very reliable system. The tolerances are looser. It can run better in extreme environments. It has the ability to be suppressed better because you're not gonna get as much carbon in the chamber area, which also brings me to my next point. 30 cal just suppresses better than a 5.56. The diameter of the round is bigger, so theoretically, it's gonna be quieter. One of the biggest cons of the AK-47 is the controls, in my opinion. It's very slow to go from safe to fire and then on the trigger. It's also really slow doing a mag. You have to rock it in, which takes a lot of time. It's just not ergonomic feeling at all. It's way slower. Another big con, I think, with the AK-47 is the reciprocating charging handle. It's just one more thing moving by your face that just doesn't feel right. However, I have heard lefties say that they prefer an AK-47 because the charging handle is on their side when they're shooting. So if you're a lefty, definitely keep that in mind because this might be the gun for you. Switching back to the AR-15, one of the other pros with this is you can swap calibers pretty easily. You can go to a 300 blackout system, and it's going to allow you to kind of have the best of both worlds, but it's easy to do. You just pull your rail off, swap your barrel, put it back on, and you'll find that you can do a lot of that with the AR-15, whereas you almost need a gunsmith to do heavy modifications to an AK. It's up to you whether you're handy enough to handle this or not. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, but the AK-47, it is heavier for these two builds. It may not be for every build, but one of the things that is really noticeable is the balance. This gun feels very front heavy. Obviously, there's a skeletonized stock on here, but even if you had a heavier stock, I still feel there's a lot of mass up here that's gonna make this thing really unbalanced, especially if you do put a can on it. Since it's gonna be such a good suppressor host, it's gonna be really front heavy, which is not fun to shoot. So on the topic of weight, the AK-47, the mags are 1 pound, 8.8 ounces, whereas the AR-15 is 1 pound, 1 ounce. So you got about 7 ounces of weight difference per mag. And you can see there, it's also a longer magazine. So if you're gonna be running kit, it's gonna be sticking up farther. It really adds up 7 ounces of mag. You have 3 mags. You're really gaining weight in your whole kit with this rifle build versus an AR-15. So one of the things we wanted to do to show off the stopping power, the kinetic energy of the AK round, is we wanted to do a water jug test to kind of give you guys an idea of how much more effective this round is over an AR-15. We're not allowed to shoot papayas here at the range, so we're gonna be shooting water for you guys.
So starting off with the 5.56, you're gonna see that it blows this water container right up with the velocity and the smaller projectile. It's dumping all of that energy into the water itself, blowing up this container. This kind of took us by surprise. We weren't expecting the 5.56 to perform this well, but here you're gonna see the 7.62 just blow right through that water, not dumping any of its energy, and just keeps on going. We think this is because the higher kinetic energy is better with penetration, so it's not dumping off all that energy into the water.
With these short-barreled rifles, the 5.56, you're gonna get about 7.5 to 8.5 inches of bullet drop at 300 yards, which is actually pretty good for a short-barreled rifle. But with the 7.62, you're gonna get double that at about 14.5 inches of bullet drop at 300 yards. If you have a good enough optic, it's gonna account for this, but it's something definitely to keep in mind when you're picking around. Where one gun shines, the other falls short, and vice versa. Ultimately, one of these rifles are gonna be right for you. You can use some of the information we gave you today to help you decide. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe.